Guys, I'm really worried about Avatar Studios. If you go to the official Avatar Studios website right now, avatarstudiosofficial.com, you don't get a holding page, you get a 404 page, which in plain English means that the studio's entire public presence on the internet has been wiped off the map, and absolutely nobody on the inside is willing to say a single word about why this has happened. So hit that subscribe button and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what this could mean for the future of the Avatar franchise, and honestly, it's not looking the best. So with that said, I do want to be very careful about how I talk about this, because the temptation when something like this happens is to immediately jump to the worst case scenario and start eulogizing a studio that might still have a future. So let me actually walk you through what was on the website until very recently and what we know about the last 6 months at Paramount, and what the most logical reading of the situation actually is. And by the end of this video, I think you understand why the people who follow this franchise the most closely are really genuinely starting to panic. So first, let's talk about what we just lost, because this matters more than most casual fans actually realize. The Avatar Studios website launched in 2021 as the official front door for everything the new studio was planning on. It wasn't huge, but it was a real piece of digital real estate that gave an entry point to the Avatar franchise. Initially, the landing page had a video on it which opened and played when you first went onto the website, but for another 3 years after that, there was absolutely nothing else on the website and it was basically dead. And then in 2024, there was a bending quiz where you'd answer a handful of questions about how you'd handle conflict and what kind of animal companion you'd want. And at the end, it would tell you what type of bender you were, either an airbender, waterbender, earthbender, or firebender. And the response to this was honestly pretty bad. Most people thought it was pretty boring and that it was uninspiring because it was just the same questions and the same stuff that we've had for years in the fandom. Guys on avatarspirit.net did these quizzes like 10 years ago. So for the official page just to have this, it was pretty poor. But on top of that, there was a beautifully laid out timeline page that walked you through the entire history of the Avatar universe, from 1 all the way through to Korra, complete with episode summaries and key events for each era. There was a character page introducing the original Team Avatar to all of the new fans coming in from the Netflix run back in 2020. If you remember, Avatar went absolutely crazy. And there was an insider sign-up form where it was clearly intended to build up a long-term marketing email list for all of the upcoming projects of Avatar Studios. The problem is, there was no more projects of Avatar Studios, and now all of that website and all of that work is gone. And this is the part where the situation genuinely gets strange, because in the entertainment industry, you basically never see a major studio's official domain go full 404 unless something specific is happening behind the scenes. Studios shut down sites all the time, but they almost never ever do it like this. So whatever's happening to Avatar Studios right now is not happening through the normal corporate operating procedure. So let me walk you through the 3 readings of what this actually means for Avatar Studios. One of them is tragic. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you, one of them is very tragic. If this happens, this is the end of Avatar Studios. But anyway, the first is the security response theory, and this is the one I'd love to be true because it's the least catastrophic and it means that Avatar Studios is not dead. The Aang Movie Leak on April 12 was eventually traced back to a hacking group called the Peggle Crew, the same people behind a major download hosting site breach back in 2016. The Hollywood Reporter's investigation suggested that the leak didn't come from inside Paramount systems, but the studio still launched a full internal review to figure out where the breach actually originated from. If during that review, the security team found out that Avatar Studios official.com infrastructure was compromised, or that it shared backend systems with whatever got hacked or whatever was compromised when the guy leaked the Avatar Aang movie, then it makes sense that they've taken the entire site offline immediately to do an immediate security upgrade. Now, given the fact we're only about 1 or 2 weeks out from the actual Aang movie leak, this makes sense and they could just be cleaning up things as a security response to the guy being able to steal the movie. Now, the second theory is a little worse, and this is the brand consolidation theory, and this is where things start to get a little more uncomfortable. Paramount and Skydance officially merged late in 2025 under David Ellison, and ever since that merger went through, the entire animation strategy of the company has been getting rewritten. Ellison is the one who unilaterally pulled the Aang movie out of theaters back in December and pushed it onto Paramount Plus as a streaming exclusive, a decision that the creative team reportedly found out about with no advance warning. They literally found out about it on Twitter, just like we all did. Now, the same might be happening here. They may have quietly killed the Avatar Studios domain as a precursor to what's about to come, and that leads us into the next theory, and this one is the one that's making everybody in the fandom very anxious and very nervous. And that is the theory that Avatar Studios as a creative entity is being quietly dissolved and folded back into the general Nickelodeon animation team. And what we're watching here is the first public evidence that the wind down has already begun. Look at the actual track record. Avatar Studios was announced on February 2021 with huge ambitions, 3 movies promised, multiple series on the slate, a whole multimedia franchise being built in the comics, the novels, TV shows, games, everything. And then 5 years later, it has produced absolutely nothing. Technically, it has produced 1 feature film, which was going to get dumped on streaming, but that couldn't even happen because then it got leaked. So Avatar Studios has done absolutely nothing Look, they have released a few comics, and those few comics are decent. They're not the best, they're not the worst. But the whole point of Avatar Studios was to produce screen content for the movie theater, for Paramount Plus, TV shows, The Seven Havens, but where is it? None of it has happened yet. It's very possible that Paramount looked at this and thought, what are we paying for this studio for if they've produced absolutely nothing to put on our streaming service, nothing to put in theaters, and nothing to keep the brand going apart from comics. So whatever they've done, this is not a good sign. Like, I don't care what you say, this is not a good sign for Avatar Studios. This simply doesn't happen to other studios. And look, I have heard some rumors, I'm not going to go into them here because I don't have the permission to talk about these leaks, but let's just say there are not good things happening at the top of Avatar Studios. So I would brace for impact within the next few weeks to find out that something bad is happening within Avatar Studios. I can't confirm it, but I do have a source that has told me this, and I'm not going to go in any further than that. But let's just say, pray for this franchise, guys. And this is the part where I'm going to have to be straight with you about how I'm reading the whole sequence of events in this whole situation. I've been making videos about this franchise for a while, years now, and I've watched every quiet warning sign stack up over the last 18 months. The marketing went silent, the streaming only pivot blindsided the creative team, the merger reshuffled every layer of leadership above the studio, the finished film leaked half a year before release, the animators went public with their frustration, and now the website itself has been pulled offline with no statement at all. Having all of this happen in sequence inside a 6-month window is the kind of pattern you usually only recognize in retrospect. After the obituary write-ups have already started landing on Variety and The Hollywood Reporter. This is the sign of a dying franchise. Guys, I'm sorry, I love Avatar, I really want it to survive. I believe this could be the next Star Wars, genuinely. If they put the effort in that Star Wars got with the same money, this could easily overtake Star Wars. Star Wars is in such a bad spot, it's honestly dying. But now, Avatar Studios can't take advantage of that. They've just been treated so poorly by Paramount and by Nickelodeon above them that it's just hard to do anything. It's hard to grow in that environment. I genuinely hope I'm wrong about this, but Avatar Studios was supposed to be a generational thing for Western animation, and the artists who poured years of their lives into making the Aang movie deserve so much better than to watch the studio that hired them get quietly dismantled while they're still fielding hate from fans about a leak they had nothing to do with. The original creators, Michael Dante DiMartino and Konietzko, came back specifically to build this thing. They left the Netflix Avatar show. Actually, they got fired, but we won't go into that. Everyone involved in this creative side of the studio, they showed up and they were ready to go, but sadly they couldn't get anything out, and now it looks like they've been caught up in the reshuffling of Paramount. It doesn't look good for the franchise. All I can say, guys, is keep refreshing that URL, avatarstudiosofficial.com. Please keep refreshing it. Just hope it comes back up in the next few weeks. If it's not back up by then there is something seriously wrong with the brand and we must talk about it. And if you want to know more about everything that's happening in Avatar Studios in the world of Avatar, both the Avatar lore, the Avatar canon, and the Avatar news from the outside, subscribe here and I'll be covering everything. But for now, all we have is a dead link and a studio that won't talk and a fan base quietly piecing together what the last 6 months were actually telling us. I'll be watching that URL every single day, and the moment anything changes, you'll be the first to hear about it right here on the Avatar Star channel. So go make some noise about this on Twitter. Let's get this website back up. Please, guys, we need this website back up. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, drop a thank Mr. Zuko in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.